Yeah. Yes, you could definitely do that, but I would advise not to do it. Yeah, that means you just create a bigger situation, then you got to fill it up, right? So, so now if you're doing plaster and you do it at your house, what you want to do, you want to leave a little bit more on the hole, right? You want to leave a little bit more so that way you could sand it down. And then by tomorrow, if you wanted to paint, you could do so. But the professional settings, that means you're going to have to do 3 times, coating, right? So this line simulate your lines. Like, you got a joint sheetrock here, so what you do, you apply the compound, at a consistent, like pace where every area is to be covered. Now, what I do, in terms of if that was an actual joint, because you want to put the tape exactly on the joint. What I do is that you find the joint and then you just follow with the knife. So you do that, then you know exactly where the line is. So that way, now in professional setting also, we have this tape holder, all right? So since we don't have it right now, now because I already put this line, I know exactly where it is. And you just, you cover it, nice. And, you could hold with your hands, put these things down, or, professional settings, you do it that way.
Okay, so what may not be obvious, the line you put across is just to make sure that after you have put the tape, you didn't lose the actual crack.
The thing about that, if you're not professional, then the tape could actually go higher or lower or whatever. And you don't want to miss the line, because if you miss the line, you're going to get a crack after you paint. And It's not going to show up before. That's the mess up thing about it. So you want to get, not too hard, but you want to get most of the compound out from under the tape, just enough to actually leave the tape intact, right? Because the thing about it is, if you actually take everything out, there's no compound under the tape. You don't want to do that. You want to leave a consistent, level under the tape, but you don't want to leave it too high also, because what it does, it creates this hump. You want to get rid of the hump. So the thing is, you don't want to leave so much compound that you create another problem on top of a brand new sheetrock. All right, so once you do that, on the other side is the same thing. In professional settings, we'll do this. Go all the way, wipe it off,
So wait, why not point? Because you wasting my compound, putting compound.
This is actually cosmetic also. You don't just do it just because, you want to cover your screws. You got to be looking nice.
So when the boss passes, they know you know.
No. Like, personally,
show me what some people do that we're not supposed to do on those screws that you are there. The spot. Do the spot.
No, but he actually didn't waste it because he took everything out of it.
No. He knows what I'm saying.
You know what I mean? So you do it like this, and then you wipe it off. Now, at the end, because like right now, it's not looking like anything, but once it's dry, and everything is coated, it looks beautiful.
It looks like you know what you do.
There's a beauty even before you paint, all right? So on the other side, we're going to do the same thing. So it's really important to actually do the sides before you do the corners, because the corners actually is the final coat within the tape, right? So you do, you do same idea, same idea as to the covering, same idea, it's not different. And then I would just run the line right in between and then cover, the same thing. It's the same idea.
Does the tape have left or right?
Yes, there's a little groove, right? The little groove actually goes into the crease of the sheetrock, right? So that's the front. So the side in front of the crease is actually the front.
Right.
So you wipe it off, same thing. Same idea, you just wipe it off. The top, you wipe the top off the bottom, because most of the time, most people are not gonna, like cover this thing like that day. So if you plan to do it like tomorrow or whatever, you wanna make sure you have a smooth surface to work on the following day. If not, like this, it's gonna be hard. You don't wanna do that, it's crazy, right? And then the corners, so what do? It's just like, because it's a corner, it's not flat, you can't use... can't use the same idea,
Before
right?
you go in a corner, let's say I want to, get that job done. Can I put a little more on the tape that you have the first time?
After. It's just like after, you could actually do a coating after. right?
About
So-
10, 15 minutes after, how long after?
No, it's like right after you could do
Oh,
a
okay.
coating. But the thing about that is once it settles, it's gonna kind of suck in, and then it creates a groove on top. But the thing about that also, it helps you the following day. You have less to put on.
Okay.
So the thing is, I'm gonna do half the knife, right?
Okay.
I'm gonna do half the knife, and I'm just gonna like consistently, just like roll it
corner.
at the end, like this. Because the worst thing about taping is that if you don't put the mud, like in every area under the tape, you're gonna find some serious problems when you're painting. You're gonna get some bubbling and all of that stuff. Now, you don't want that,
So tell them why you just bend the tape.
Yeah, because it's a corner, right? It's a corner, obviously, like if I do this, first of all, I have the ability to actually hold it straight. Like a paper tape just become like a stick. I just stick that in there, no problem, right? Stick it in there. Once you stick it in there, then, you wipe off the same idea, right? Same idea. You just wipe it off. Not too hard, not too soft, you want a gentle, layout where, it just makes sense. Now this is pretty much, you repeat that all over. This is your taping. You just got to repeat. You just got to repeat wherever, however, if you join the compound or whatever. And the other thing is, most people have kids at their home or, some accidents or whatever, you find yourself in a situation.
Okay, then go ahead.
You find yourself in a situation, this is like your child or whatever. What do? You get a piece of sheet rock. This one is pre-cut, and
Knife.
and there's a pencil also. I just had it though. Yeah.
How to?
So you could patch yourself easy. It doesn't matter, anybody could do it. You just write it up, cut it up. This is easy. You get a knife, a saw knife,
Cut to size.
You just cut it up. It doesn't have to be nice, you take your time, you do it, but, So you want to make sure this could, fit in there, That's pretty much what your goal is. So make sure you have like a nice square. And then, if you have it's nice to have, a screw gun at your house or something. You got to have something. It doesn't matter who you are. If you have your house or whatever, So what you do, you get a piece of stick, push that in there.
Yeah.
Right?
Hope it doesn't fall at the back. You'll have to find another.
Yeah, you got to be careful with it. Or, you could put a screw in it. But, most of the time, you just want something that's not too long,
No, you can't hold it because it's going up on the battery.
Unless you are a squirrel.
Right? So
You can't go over to the neighbor's house to hold it.
So you put that in there,
Right.
Put that in there,
Right.
and you just screw it in. Right? Nice and flat. And you just repeat, like, the idea of...
Knife. Right in
Yeah,
front of you.
it's just repeat. Same thing, right? And you put if you put a lot of mud on it.
So the hole you had, you couldn't use a mesh?
No, I don't really use mesh if it's not for like cracking walls or whatever. Because what I found is like once the building like keep moving or whatever, the structure, then you get a crack in the area. Sometimes this actually, if the building is actually really moving, you get the same problem. But I just like to use the tape.
That's right.
Same thing. So what I do with it, I like to be fancy with it. So I go over the first one. I just keep adding. I don't even worry about trying to do like the cracks. Just keep adding until I cover the whole thing.
The whole thing.
Right? So now the whole thing is covered, right? The whole thing is covered. And so now this is like a, larger blade, 10 inches. Now they have 14, 12. I like to use those, And you just try to, because like it's a patch, depending on how big it is, you try to do, 2 of them, So you have 20 inches. You have about 20 inches, you clean the edges, right? Like a fade, right? You clean the edges, but the way you clean the edges, you got to make sure to put one side of the knife on the wall and the other side is kind of floating. So that way you take the excess mud out, but you leave the compound on the wall, right? Just like this. And I would go over. And this, you just do that all over like the following day. And like this area. Yeah.
How wide you should open your component?
Okay, so like
wide should you open your compound on the joint?
So the idea is like sometimes like in a professional settings we like to test the wall, right? So it's easy to test the wall like this. You see how flat that is? You could actually get away with 1, right? Not 20, just a 10. You could get away with it, right? But it's just like there's areas where the sheetrock is actually joined with each other on the like 4-foot area. Because it's not straight, then you got to do maybe about 3 or 4 of those to actually like really widen it so you get a smooth transition from one side to the other. Same idea, rest one side to the wall, the other side is up. And then you get rid of the excess at the bottom, and you just go over.
Notice you're applying with your 6-inch knife and you pass and clean up with the 10-inch.
And, to get like really, really nice job, you just repeat that like the following day. Try not to, if you're not in a rush, just repeat it the following day. And, you do this twice. And then you sand, like in a professional setting, it's pretty much 3 coats, But if you do it at your house or whatever, you don't, depending on like how much sanding you want to do, you might just do 2 coats.
But with your plaster Paris, you can do it in the next couple hours.
Yeah, with the plaster Paris, you could do, depending on the temperature also, you get away with it, Depending on your temperature, you get away with it. Now, like when we tape like in a professional settings, we would do this today and then do the corners tomorrow. So that way we don't have, any problems like joining compound to compound. Sometimes you don't get a smooth transition, like trying to join them as, like the following day. The following day is like really good where, you don't run compound on top of fresh compound, It
did.
So what I would do here, I would not go down all the way because I already have fresh compound, right? You just bleed it into the other one. Same idea, just bleed it into the other one. So I'm gonna use, like the 10-inch just to make sure you don't have a smooth transition here.
Looking good.
So
you notice how the white mark looking good?
That's what it is. And, you do that the following day, and your switches, you could definitely, if it's not good, you play with it. Have fun with, the situation, even though you're not a professional. have fun with your situation. So you repeat this throughout your whole house or your room or whatever. You just keep repeating, and then, the following day, most of this line is going to fade. Don't even worry about, those small lines or whatever. This is going to fade. So the following day, you do the same thing, clean off the same way, you'll have the most beautiful wall. If you want, you could actually polish. Polish means after you do 2 coats, you sand down and you do like even a lighter compound on this, and you put at the top, but this time you got to do wider. You would go probably the 20. That's the polish. And then the whole thing would be so smooth, like completely smooth, and your painting and everything is going to be beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
Can you substitute sanding for polishing wider?
Yeah, because what I do, like for instance, like if I, like if there's a problem within my ceilings or whatever, and I don't want to go through the hassle of, sanding and creating dust in the house or whatever, what I do, I just do a couple of coats. Instead of doing like 2 coats, now I'm thinking about doing maybe 4 or 5 coats. Completely smooth. And then, the other thing you could do also is like get a wet sponge. Like if you have any humps or whatever, you could get a wet sponge, get rid of the hump, and then just go over. Once you get rid of the sponge of the hump, you just go over with compound and wipe it off. So this is polish. This is polish, for instance. This is polish. This is putting it on, taking it out. But it depends on the quality of the second coat, right? Because if the second coat is actually really nice, then you just put on and wipe off. But it's not so nice, then you got to leave a little bit. You leave a little bit. You do the same thing like this. I would do this. But instead of doing this, if I do that, then everything wipes off completely. But what I would do this. You see? So there's a little bit left because I want to fill like all the cracks and holes that I had before. I'm going to do this. But like if everything is really smooth, I do, complete wipe off. Like this is polish. So you have the difference between this and that.
Question.
I mean, what like the thing about it is, sometimes what you're comfortable with, and then what's practical, what makes sense. So the thing about if you're doing your corners, once you actually put your tape in, you want to do maybe a 6-inch or a 5-inch, because you want to get as wide as possible, so that way you get the corners sometimes, because the compound, the sheetrock has this curve to it. So once you get into the edge of the sheetrock, you want to widen your knife a little bit, so that way you get a smooth transition. If I were to put a flat, level here, it would actually works with the compound, because you actually do a little wider. You don't want to do it small as possible. You want to do maybe a 6-inch, at the corners. So the knife is sometimes, like, what are you comfortable with? I used to be comfortable with 4, then, move up to 5. Now I'm only using, small places. Then I got to, like size down. But basically, that's what it is.
Question. Yeah, question. For the polishing,
Yeah.
does it matter which compound you use for the polishing?
All right. So the all-purpose compound, it's like really good. It could support like a level of water, for instance. Like there's this compound, I can't remember the name, but it's like a blue bucket. It's lighter, Right. So the thing about that is that you can't really polish so much with it. As you just now, if I were to go over it, like the following day, try to polish it, will peel off. It will completely peel off like every area. So you're gonna have to work harder. But the all-purpose compound, even though like today, you coat it today and then you sand it, you get a smooth transition the following day by doing the polishing. Smooth,
Polish with you polish with the light or the all-purpose?
The all-purpose. I mean, I just use it for everything. But the thing about that is, most of the time, this is the best thing for me. But they got a whole bunch of, like, can't speak to those things because I don't know, I'm out of the business, so I still use like the old school situation. But if you in a professional setting now, you know, you got to get like the machine and stuff, you know, because you want to be done faster and all of that stuff. But, you know, mostly this is like DIY, you know what I mean? Like where people could do at their house, you know. And I would just encourage people, like, you know, if you own a house or you plan to own a house, you know, just learn a couple of things. You know, every day, now everybody's on Instagram, Facebook, and all of that. You could take that 30, 20 minutes to actually learn something, all right? So, like, I spend my whole time, you know, like being a professional taper and painter, you know, but I could do, like, mostly everything. But what I do now is every year, you know, I, you know, get something else under my belt, right? Like, year before, I decided, you know, I'm going to do plumbing, right? I'm going to do plumbing. Like, you know, sorting copper and stuff, you know. So like now, I don't need anybody to come to my house to do it. You know what I mean? I learned the professional way to do it. Now I'm doing it like you know, arc welding and all of that stuff. Every year I decide, okay, listen, I'm gonna do something else this year. You understand? So I did my outside bathroom. That was my first project, completely doing my bathroom on my own, doing my copper, you know, like, Pastor Daniel actually helped me out with the putting the holes in the basement so we could do the waste line. You know, so there's a lot of potential in a lot of people, but you know, most of the time that, you know, people don't want to, you know, take the time out to learn certain things, and you know, you get a call. Like I always tell my friend, you have a problem, like with your boiler, you have a problem with your pipe. This is things that could actually easily be fixed, easily. Most people don't know how easy it is, you know, to change your oil in your vehicle or change the rotor. I do all of that stuff. I just go online and I decide, okay, this is what I'm going to do this year. I'm going to learn how to, you know, service my vehicle from the tires down to the oil to the, you know what I mean? I just encourage everybody. These things are so easy. Yeah.
Okay, going back to the taping. Initially, I noticed that you used your, how you call this again? Just remind me.
Oh, what is it?
The level. You
Right.
used the level and you drew a line.
No. I'm sorry, but the line was to simulate like where the sheetrock joins like
together.
This. Because this is like a whole sheetrock. So I just had to show you an idea as to like when your sheetrock is joined.
So that was my question. Is it at every groove that you tape before you? Is it at every groove that you tape before you go ahead and put your compound?
Yes, like wherever the sheetrock is joined, right? Wherever there's a cut, the sheetrock is joined. If you don't do exactly what I did before, like when I started, you're gonna find, even though you tape it nice, you just put the mud or whatever and you paint it, it's gonna crack.
It will crack up.
Yeah. Okay. So basically, whatever screw heads, whatever line you have, you just wanna go ahead and put some tape on it. You wanna put some mud. You know, if you decide you wanna use mesh, that's up to you. Right. You use your mesh, but it's the same end result you're looking for.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, yeah, so that's it. We good?
Just wanted to emphasize on something that I think we may take for granted. Wiping your knife when you are actually doing your finishing. That's very important because some persons would wipe, they would pass the knife,
right,
but not wipe it. And it's
right,
important to wipe the knife after every stroke.
Yeah, always clean it, you know, and even afterwards when you're done, you wash your tools off, you know. Professional settings, man. And before you know it, you know, you got your house. You don't need anybody to come. If you have a problem with a wall or want to take a sheetrock out, put one back in. This is no problem. These things could be easily done, easily. You know, it doesn't have to be that beautiful as a professional person, but the end result is going to be the same.
So when you have a pump set in the wall, obviously like for example, wall 1 and wall 2, say like you can't get the level because say you have a 1/4 inch or
right,
or 1/8 offset on it.
Right,
what do you do with that wall?
Okay, so the thing about it is, like the mud is amazing, actually. Like you could actually work certain areas that's actually not level, right? The thing about it is the wall is not going to be 100% level. You're not going to find that, not really, right? But the idea is, like as you see these walls or whatever, if you were to maybe put a level on it or whatever, you might find some sinkhole or whatever. But most of the time, it doesn't matter.
So can you polish the whole wall?
Most people with money, that's what they do. You get a nicer job, like when we used to go on jobs like $1 million houses and stuff, the whole thing is polished off. The whole thing is coat. The whole thing. You see what I did on the tip here? What I did on the tip here, like this, and most of the time, if you get a house and the house is not too bad, like the walls are not too crazy, there's skim coat. Skim coat means go over everything, right? So I would do. So this is a skim. Everything gets a coat, everything. So the quality of the wall, dictates the level of compound, right? So if the wall is not too crazy, you could do a light skim coat, but if it's, bad, then you got to do a heavy coat, So this is like skim. So this is what skim is. It's the same idea, but you just leave compound all over the wall. And you do that twice, and then if you wish, you could polish. When you paint that wall, this is the most beautiful thing you'll ever see. This is skim. If I were to do this on this whole thing, I'd do it twice, go over it again, and polish off, sand it down and polish off. This is the most beautiful thing, Yay.
Yeah. This has been amazing. Put your hands together for Mr. Luisi and all the presenters. I think, we did it in that we were able to pack so many skills in one night. Although we started late, we were able to accomplish much. I learned a lot. And I continue to learn from Mr. Luisi himself and others who are presented. I want to say a special thanks to the electrician who presented, Mr. Norbert Placid. I believe his presentation was phenomenal. He's, very practical. We were able to see also Mr. Alex Ross, architect who gave us so much information. Also, Mr. Dwayne Charles,
I know, right?
the plumber. I think.
Rookie,
Go. His mic is on.
Yes.
Right. Go quickly, Joe. Mute.
All right. Good night, guys.
So,
all right.
with that, yeah, Mr. Dwayne Charles, Mr. Ross, Mr. Placid, Mr. Luisi, and all the information that came from the audience, questions on Zoom and whatnot, and otherwise, we are so happy tonight. This is something that we're hoping to duplicate, and a model that we were hoping to follow as we strengthen the community. Essentially, we have the president of the St. Lucian Adventist American Christian Association. Yeah, I asked the question. The A is for American Christian Association. Mr. Dan Thomas, who I'm going to ask to do the prayer for us to the end. But I want to say, in spite of the time, the challenges that we have with tons of time trying to pack this was a powerful session that we have. And I want to say a huge thank you to every single person who presented. Put your hands together. So, we didn't even get to touch, carpentry. We have Mr. Lindsay, who is a good carpenter. We have Mark, who is a good carpenter as well. We have Brother Val, who is a master in stucco, and other people, who are around. We have a doctor himself who is great at cameras and, all the computer stuff. So, listen, our community is packed. We have all around us, like Brother Alex, Brother Clee. We have some good, guys around. And, God bless you. Thank you so much. So, for those of you who were with us, who stayed with us on Zoom or YouTube, we thank you so much. And I can't wait for part 2, because in that we see the possibility of, making trade men out of those who are teachable and willing to learn. So you have the contact. You see what the men are capable of. I am hoping that we could do a follow-up exercise where we could have a little hands-on. This time we're going to separate the disciplines, separate the skills, so that we could have more time. I'm pretty sure some of you would have wanted to get your hands on the touch to heat up that copper, to weld a pipe. Some of you would have wanted to, skin that wire yourself and put the necessary bushing or whatever it's called, into the receptacle and the light. So hands-on stuff. And again, in close connection with the president of the St. Lucian American Christian Association, these are some of the things that we should look forward to. And being that, he's a man of his caliber and who has the interest of the people at heart and understand what community is about, I'm pretty sure we're going to see the likes of those things. So again, thank you so much for coming out. For those of you who ensure that this was a success by whatever contribution you made, thank you so much. So now I'm going to call Dr. Dan Thomas, who always support us, the president of the St. Lucian American Christian Association. He's going to do the prayer for us. Get him the mic, and he's going to do it for us. Thank you very much again, audience and everyone. God bless you. Have a good night. Contact me. I'll contact those guys, and let's do it. Before Doc comes, it is my hope, my wish, my prayer that among us we have a solid institution that not only are we going to identify jobs and look for jobs, but we are going to facilitate sending people on job after training them. And by this, we will ensure that individuals have an avenue to put food on their table. The vision is big. Follow the vision. Pray about it, and watch how God is going to bless us. Doc, come to dismiss us.
Thank you so much. And Pastor, I do echo the sentiments of the pastor. I think this is something that we definitely need in the community. The fact that the church has taken the initiative to partner with, the SLAKE has taken the initiative to partner with the church is a remarkable blessing. I'm going to invite you to stand as we close in prayer. If you're able to, can we stand? Can we stand? We are praying. Father in heaven, we come once again, thanking you for the tremendous blessing that you have bestowed upon us. Thank you for the day since past into eternity. We thank you for all the good things that you have presented to us through a variety of talents. You've said that you've given each of us at least one talent. And so there were multiplicity of talents demonstrated here today. We thank you for the vision of Pastor Daniel to have put this initiative together, recognizing the need of the community, the need of the church, the need of the wider community to learn various aspects of trades, and all of the presenters that were there today represented their respective trades. We thank you for those who were in attendance, dear Father. May you continue to bless us in ways that, Lord, we would put to good use, not just for ourselves here in the church, but to extend this blessing to the wider community, where, Father, in that effort, we'll be able to present Jesus, the Christ, because at the end of the day, this is all that it is about, presenting Christ to a dying world. So we thank you. We ask that you continue to bless each person who presented here today. And as we leave this place, and never from your presence, may you continue to guide us, guide our family, guide our respective homes. Father, bless the shepherd of this church. Bless the leaders. May you continue to enrich them with vision from above, so that these types of services could be repeated for the benefit and blessing of your people. Bless us, guide us, keep us. Those who are traveling, may you take them safely to their respective destination. And when we would have gathered again, O Lord, if by chance it is before you come, Father, bless us. But if for any reason, any one of our numbers were to be dislodged, even as the night proceeds, O God, may we be certain to be faithful to meet again at your appointed time of return. This is our asking in Jesus' name. Let everyone who loves the Lord say amen and amen. Thank you so much. Just on a note, and if you, with your indulgence, we are really encouraging, and we're going to have a Slaker, how we call it, a town hall to really present a reinvigorated Slaker that we really want folks to be a part of, and we will be sharing with you as the weeks proceed as to how Slaker could be an organization that you'll be proud to be a part of. I'm happy to be representing it in the capacity of president for the next couple of years, and I hope that the program that we have set forth will benefit not only those who are Christians, but the entire St. Lucian diaspora. And let me use this occasion also to say that we are going to embark on a program in the next couple of weeks called Kicks for Kids. November of 2022, St. Lucia experienced a very difficult trough, resulted in the flooding of the northern part of the island. So we're looking to raise or collect 150 pairs of new shoes, not used shoes, new shoes for the kids who were affected by that flooding in St. Lucia. All right? So 150 pairs. We will, give out some information in the next couple of weeks as to how you could be a part of it, so that we could show our less fortunate St. Lucians, especially the children, how we here who have been blessed with stuff like that, okay, free. And before, did we collect the offering? We did not. So I'm going to start here. We did announce it. I'm saying we as if I'm a part of this thing, but I get a blessing here. Let's, have the men who are here and the women. You were blessed with free service here. You enjoyed the food that was presented earlier. If we could get just a little bit of offering to subsidize the church in that respect, it would be a blessing as well. So I'm going to speak, and I'm going to make collect a hat or something, go around. Let's collect an offering, and we will pray quickly on it. I think it's the least we could do, because you can't tell me that you were not blessed for receiving all of this good stuff today. Show our appreciation, at least for the food, if not anything. All right? Let's do that as we whatever it is, we could do that. And I always tell folks, Pastor, when you come to church, don't come without a blessing. Ça pas, having la caille bon Dieu, pas venir sans blessing by bon Dieu, right? It is, you gotta come. You got to come. Let us pray on the offering that is collected. At least it would, save us the heat or the electricity or whatever it is, because it is something good that we have done here today. Father in heaven, we thank you once again for blessing us.